I'm showing you how I make a pom-pom. I use this as pigtails, I use this as a bunny tail, and I also use it for my stuffing, not stuffing method for my big-footed snugglers. So I'm using blanket yarn, and I start by making a slip stitch and chaining um, whatever size you want. Here I think I'm chaining 8. You can make the loops bigger or smaller by chaining less or more. Then I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch, and I'm going to immediately from there again chain 8, and then I will do the same thing over and over to until I get the size that I want, just right there in that first stitch. As you're going, sometimes if you're only slip stitching into the first stitch of the chains, it becomes more of a line than a ball. So sometimes you need to slip stitch into the center. Maybe that's the first chains that you did, or something like a gap left from other slip stitches. Either way, you want it to look more like a loofah than a line. And see here, I'm going to go underneath a little bit so it becomes more of a ball shape than a line of loops. And if you'll just keep repeating that until you get the size that you want. I've already made this pom-pom for the stuffing of the foot here, but you notice that when I fastened off, I left a pretty long tail. That's what I'm going to use to make sure it stays in the foot. So here is my foot here, and I'm going to just put it in there just like I would use like Polyfill. It's obviously a little bit different. It's a little more snug. Many times I like to make 2 so that it's easier to stuff, but here I'm just showing you with 1. And this is the long tail that I left, and I'm going to use it to secure it inside of the foot so it doesn't travel anywhere it's not supposed to be. So with my needle, I'm going to come from inside the foot, and I'm just going through the foot a couple different times, and then I'm going to catch some of those loops, go through some of those chains, and that's what's going to keep it secured in the foot. So it keeps its shape, but it doesn't move. You want to be careful as you're going that you don't pull too tight, because that'll make kind of like a pucker. And if you do that, you can use the opposite end of your needle and just kind of stretch it out. But again, it doesn't take very much. Just go in and out a couple of times just until you feel like it's pretty secure. I just stuffed it in there. If you have an extra tail inside of the foot, you can tie it off. But either way, that's how I make these so that they keep their shape, but you don't actually use polyfill.